I'm not here to poke holes in suspended disbelief.
Anyway, they see some weird shit. They decide to make a baby.
Thou merkin merchant.
Who gives a fuck?
I kind of just want to start calling you Damian Yells at School Boards.
Well, we really like it here. It's kind of nice, and it's not as cold as back home, and the soil is a lot better. So, yeah, sure, I think we're gonna settle.
If I'm a peasant boy who grabs a sword out of a stone,
Yeah.
I'm able to open people up
Well, yeah.
anytime I hit them with it, right?
Yeah.
So my cleave landing will make me a cavalier.
Good day, sir. If Siskel thought it was empty-headed plebeian trash, he was probably really gonna groove on it.
Because cannibalism and murder. Pull back just a little bit and build walls to keep out the redheads.
Man, I used to work with Burt Reynolds and
Authorial intent doesn't exist. Some people stand up to wipe their butts. Some people stay seated to wipe their butts. Like, it just... This is a Geek History of Time.
Where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history teacher here in Northern California, also teaching one section of remedial reading through the magic of the internet for another little bit less than a month until I get to go back in person. And aside from that March of Doom in my future, the big news for the purposes of this podcast anyway, is that I think I mentioned my wife and I are now back in a role-playing game. Again, we're playing D&D with a group of friends. And we're about to get into a fight with a group of fantasy space Nazis.
I like it.
Yeah. So anybody out there who is familiar with the Greyhawk setting from Advanced Dungeons & Dragons might recognize the Scarlet Brotherhood, who are literally a group of pasty-faced, blonde, human, and specifically racial human, like their ethnic group supremacists. And my character is the one who spotted who they were and explained to the rest of the party, that's who these people are. And the party paladin immediately said, what do we need to do to find a way to legally pick a fight with them? And our Kender Bard immediately said, I'm singing insulting songs at them right now. And that's where we stopped things for this most recent session. So who are you and what have you got going on?
Well, I'm Damian Harmony. I'm a Latin teacher up here in Northern California. And through the magic of the internet, I will be doing that hopefully until the end of the year. We will see, because bargaining is ongoing as I speak.
Literally.
Yes, I'm
literally
getting updates.
You all listening have not been here to see it, but he is literally looking at his phone. And of course, the only reason I'm able to say that right now is because thankfully we are both now fully vaccinated and at full efficacy.
Yep.
And so here we are back in person again, and I cannot begin to tell you how much of a relief it is that I'm going to be talking over you, and we're going to be tripping over one another so much less frequently.
Or more effectively.
Okay, better way of putting it, more effectively. I'm very happy to be back in person.
How do you like the recording studio?
Well, I've told you before that I have house envy.
Yes.
And now I have to tell you that I have really, really massive office envy as well. For those of you, of course, listening, it's not a visual medium. If you're not, following his YouTube channel in progress, you haven't seen the interior of this place. It's a really lovely shade of green.
Thank you.
I really like the paint job on the walls. And of course it is heavily decorated in a very intense Star Wars style, which I also I'm working on catching up to you in the lightsaber collection category.
Yeah.
But I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
So,
it's I like it. That right there is the Star Wars bookshelf.
Yes,
then I need to recalibrate some bookshelves, quite honestly, because I could open up this space a lot more. So thank you for coming to Damian's interior decorating.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Podcast. No, so another fun fact. You mentioned space Nazis.
Yes.
And I heard tell that you are actually capable of fighting Nazi zombies now.
I am, as a matter of fact. I will be very shortly once I actually figure out how to get the game system hooked up and running. So Damian and producer George colluded with my wife to deliver my birthday present from them a few days early. My birthday is coming up next week. It'll be my second 23rd, which Damian is no doubt going to have a great deal of fun here in a moment mocking me for.
Yep.
But the two of them have been playing Call of Duty together for some significant length of time.
Since before my marriage.
Wow.
Really, it
Okay.
was okay. Since
All right.
I started working at no. Since the beginning of my marriage, because it was since I started working at the high school I work at now.
Okay. All right. So for a significant amount of time, the two of them have been connecting and playing Call of Duty over the interwebs, and they were talking about picking that up in a group chat that we're all in a few days ago. And of course, I have been Xbox deprived and have not been a Call of Duty player. And so today, they delivered me an Xbox and a stack of Call of Duty games with the understanding that, yes, you've been drafted. And by the way, this is the one that has zombie Nazis in it.
Yes.
To which my response was, well, I know what mode I'll be playing in.
Now to explain just a little bit more, when we play Call of Duty, we don't play with the outside world. Because most of the people, you can if you want to find out how many people have slept with your mother.
Oh, fuck no.
But
I teach 12-year-olds.
yeah,
I don't need
exactly.
to be playing video games with them over the internet on my off time.
And whether they're 12 chronologically or not, they're all 12.
Yeah.
But
well, to be fair, we're
yeah.
not that much older mentally.
no, but like we could get into a PG-13 mentally. They could not.
we're potentially more socialized.
Their goal is NC-17. You know, ours is not.
Yeah.
So,
That makes sense.
but we actually don't play with the outside world at all because most of the people who play Call of Duty, with the exception of all of our listeners.
Yes, of course.
yeah.
And any of our
Worldwide.
listeners who are Call of Duty folks.
You guys are fine. You're not the problem. But the rest of the culture around Call of Duty is just not worth your engagement. And so we play a lot of private matches.
Okay.
And that's why we got you the ones that we do, because those are the ones where producer George and I will just relax and vibe with.
Nice.
And we're really curious as to what adding a third person to the Nazi zombie hunting will do.
accomplish.
Because he and I have things dialed in pretty well.
Okay, yeah, well,
So,
I'm not going to add.
shorthand, yeah.
I'm going to be the guy tripping over his
It's
own
fine.
hand grenades.
It's totally fine,
Like
yeah.
I can't. Yeah.
So, and we'll play a
So-
few where we all shoot at each other, and
Yeah.
George will, and we'll play all shotgun matches and stuff like that. It'll be a lot of
Nice.
fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Cool.
But yeah, I was in the middle of doing the thing, so I could never really fully appreciate your reaction. My daughter recorded it because she came with me.
Yeah.
She was fully masked and all that. So what was your initial impression to that? And by the way, for our listeners, if you don't want to hear this, you can probably, I'm going to say skip ahead. We're at 7 minutes, 40 seconds or so. I'm going to say skip ahead to about 15 minutes and check in.
Yeah, that's probably a good plan.
So, but I want to hear your reaction.
Humbled.
Okay.
More than anything else.
Now you opened the door and you saw me.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was kind of a shock. Because the story that I had been told all week was your birthday gift is coming on Friday.
Okay.
And there have already been a couple of packages that are actually gifts from her that have arrived, and for the last 2 weeks I've been told don't open anything. Like unless you can look at it and recognize that it is in fact cat food, don't open anything. I'm like, okay, all right, fine.
Good move, producer George,
yeah.
and good move, Ed's wife.
Yeah. So open the door and you were there with your daughter and like, oh, hey, how you doing? Like, okay, this is new.
Yeah.
And there was kind of a split second of oh shit, I don't have my mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Because the last year has been the last year, and then I remembered, oh right, no, we're both teachers. One of the professional advantages there is now we're safe to hang out. We don't have to worry about that. And then I noticed that you had the gigantic bag, and I was and then I don't know if you you did notice. The first thing I did was I turned to my wife and said, "What did you do?"
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway from it is how fortunate I am to have made the friends that I have made. I am very, very grateful to the two of you. That was a huge thing. And the fact that you would go to those lengths to include me in something that the two of you have been doing means an awful lot, and I really appreciate it. And I'm really humbled.
Good.
And yeah, just thank you, producer George. You're not here with us, but thank you.
He
so
will
much.
be soon.
That is a big deal.
I'm hoping.
Yes. Fingers crossed. I'm
I
really,
believe he's
really
got
looking
his appointment
forward
for
to
his
that.
first. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Now, I will say most credit is due to producer George. I have lost my imagination, even more so during COVID. And during all my efforts at bargaining, I don't have much in the way of imagination. He hit me with this idea. He's like, hey, what can I count on from you in terms of help and support? I said, I have no problem, however you want to split it. I'm happy to split it whichever way you see fit. Yeah. If you take the reins and you make it all happen, I will be the delivery boy. And that's precisely what happened.
That's exactly how it turned out. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. So you need to come up with a good gamer tag on there.
Okay. Well, I've had sort of my internet nickname for years.
And if that's the one you want to use, that's the one you can use. That's fine.
I mean, assuming it hasn't been taken yet. But
well, and there's also that
with the specific digits on the. I'm not going to say what it is.
Yeah.
Here right now, until we get to a place where we're like, do we want to invite people to join us? Which we're not there yet.
No.
So
prove yourselves.
But yeah.
Prove yourselves.
Yeah. Show that you are worthy.
Yeah.
And then we'll see about doing something. But
Italy, I'm talking to you. All
right.
So well, that's awesome. It was really cool to be a part of that. I'm really glad that we got to do that. George was very, very happy. I know I was very, very happy. And I cannot wait. My fingers are crossed actually for a Saturday night or a Sunday night, like soon.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow or Sunday.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
I can't,
do.
Lee has a lot of projects she's working on right now.
Sure.
That might.
I gotta say, my favorite moment of all of that was she's like, this means I get to play more Switch.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, Ed, don't blow this. Like, play it cool. Don't be like, well, of course. Be like, okay, honey. Yeah. Because I'm stuck in negotiation mode.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, yeah. And
you've
say
turned
yes
into
to
such,
it.
You've turned into such a cynic.
Yes.
Because of
say yes to it, but say, okay, but sometimes I want to be in the bedroom to play.
Yeah.
And then she'll think that the bedroom is the best place to play.
Yeah.
And you can have the big TV downstairs.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's the deal. The thing is, that's not actually a problem.
Oh, good.
Because when she winds up getting on the Switch, a lot of the time she actually prefers playing it in handheld mode.
Oh, okay.
Which boggles my fucking mind.
Well, she's probably used to iPads and phones.
She is very much.
There you
that's
go.
true. But
we grew up on consoles.
Yeah, and part of the issue also I figured out actually after trying to play Breath of the Wild on the handheld mode, I can do it. But part of my issue is, for those of you who haven't ever seen a photograph of me or seen video, would be more likely. I have Duane syndrome, which you've noticed, of course. My left eye wants to go off
Marty
and
Feldman.
do weird things. Yeah. And it's actually that my right eye is the one that's fucked up. My left eye is the one that has more range of motion.
Oh, okay.
It's actually my right eye is kind of semi-paralyzed.
Oh, okay.
My left eye can move everywhere. And the thing is, whenever I get into close-up work, I wind up focusing with one eye.
Okay.
And so if I'm trying to play the game like that,
right,
it's actually easier on my eyes to be looking at a screen
at a mid distance.
At a mid distance rather than trying to do it on the handheld. So, but she's like, no, I could lie on the couch and do this.
Oh, dude, that's a cuddle session for the both of you.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, sort of to the extent that
glad.
we can cuddle while I've got a set of headphones on and I'm swearing at you and producer George.
Oh, you'll find a way. You'll find a way.
I'm sure.
My dog Skura made out with me for 47 minutes. Wow. Well, I counted because I was playing a basketball game, and that was almost the entirety of the game because it's 12-minute quarters. So he was much younger. This is his puppyhood, but this is why he became my dog, because I allowed him to supplicate for 47 minutes on my beard.
Wow.
Everybody's grossed out by that, but I was like, what's the big deal? I'm just sitting there and he's licking my face. It's fine.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, that's
nice.
So yeah. All right, so let's see if there's any other updates worthy of the name, because we are hitting the 15-minute
mark.
I called that perfectly.
Yeah, you did.
I don't think so.
No, I think we're mostly everybody's pretty caught up.
Yeah, the world is slightly less bad.
Yeah.
People are starting to get overconfident, which I'm worried about.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's take their minds off of it tonight.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm surprising you with an episode
yes,
tonight.
You are.
I am.
Yeah, I have no preconceived understanding, no preview at all of what we're going to be talking about.
When I say it, you'll be giddy, I'm hoping.
Okay.
So,
all right.
The title of this episode is this is podcast number 99, by the way. Oh, this is the thing I wanted to say. Sorry.
Yeah.
Stutter step, folks.
No
and
worries.
I'm not editing this out. But the last time we were in person was for episode 50.
Yes.
It's either 49 or 50.
Yeah.
But it was mid Conan.
Yeah.
And it was, it aired in April of last year. So,
yes.
I mean, this has literally been more than a year.
Yeah. No,
because then a few episodes later, we did a Wash Your Damn Hands episode.
Yeah.
Or before, I forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the first time, and I'm hoping that this is more the norm, and that every once in a while, if needs be, we can record remotely.
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful.
Fingers crossed.
All right.
Fingers
so here it is, episode 99.
Yes.
Cardassian Justice and the Trial of Horatius.
Okay. I am here for it. I am here for it. All right.
So, in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the main antagonists for the long haul are always the Cardassians.
Yes.
Okay. There's Kim. There's their mom. There's Kylie, I think.
Yeah.
Or Kendall.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few guest appearances by Paris and Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kanye shows up as a supporting villain later on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's
as like the psycho killer.
Yeah, he's part of the
Crazy
Jem'Hadar.
Pants. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, wait, okay, hold on. Is he Jem'Hadar or is he Obsidian Order?
Oh, neither.
Okay.
Neither. He's the Breen.
Okay.
So,
okay. Yeah, good point. All right. Good,
okay.
Good take.
So, but the Cardassians were originally introduced in the Star Trek: The Next Generation, and they were given some basic species premises in my two favorite episodes of Star Trek ever, The Chain of Command.
Okay.
In that duology, one of the only other captains to ever give a captain's log on the Enterprise besides the main two, Kirk and Picard, was Edward Jellicoe. And he summed up the Cardassians very hawkishly for the Federation. He said, quote, "Cardassians are like timber wolves, predators, bold in large numbers, cautious by themselves, and with an instinctive need to establish a dominant position in any social gathering." So again, that's found in Chain of Command. I believe it's season 6.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And it's the governor of Mars from Total Recall. Plays Jellicoe.
Yeah.
So that's where you get you're really you're introduced to them a few other times, but this is where you really get a chunk of meat from the Cardassians.
Well, the really famous episode, one of the most powerful bits of acting Patrick Stewart ever did, the There Are Four Lights episode was a Cardassians episode.
Well, that's the Chain of Command.
Oh, that is Chain of Command. Right. Okay.
And
I was separating the two threads in my head. Yeah, no, you're right.
You think about the 2-man play between him and David Warner.
Yeah, which, wow.
Yes.
An amazing bottle episode.
Yeah.
Pair of episodes.
Really is.
I mean, yeah.
And honestly, Jellicoe does a fantastic job too. He really does.
Oh yeah.
It's also the first time that Deanna Troi has to wear a uniform. That's not a skirt.
Yeah.
Or her maroon or her purple silver or
Weird,
her teal.
Bizarre.
But she's a counselor. I'm
Yeah,
cool with it.
yeah,
But
no,
why is your counselor on the bridge all the time? That's a little weird. And why is she, if she's on the bridge, why, and he actually says, I want more decorum. And she starts wearing that, and then she starts going to that well more often. Yeah. But, so Cardassians throughout both series were hierarchical, with all of their citizens serving the will of the state, and with the family being ruled absolutely by the parents, usually the father. An old Cardassian was to be respected and slightly feared, as getting to an old age meant guile, cunning, power, strength, and wisdom. Cardassian social culture seemed to be one of shifting alliances, too. Behind the veil power, patronage. So in 1 minute, you're in charge of a vast amount of Cardassian governmental power, and the next you're laid low because you misjudged a political rival.
Yeah, and there was always this very keen sense of a Machiavellian, like in a literal The Prince kind of sense of, like, it always struck me that being a Cardassian must be fucking exhausting.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
and you have to remember that they're not wired the same way humans are.
Exactly.
But like to put a human brain through that kind of social order was, like, just thinking about it was.
Yeah, you're breeding psychopathic humans.
Yeah.
Or successful Cardassians.
Or yeah.
It reminds me of an exercise that we did in my teaching credential program called Bafa. And if you look up Bafa, you'll probably find it. And it's wild because it teaches you about cultural assumptions. It's very clearly based on nomadic tribe mentality, which was kind of interesting, and trading and stuff like that. But it was interesting. I wish I was less arrogant. I could have gotten more out of it back then.
Yeah.
But
don't we all wish that about our younger selves?
Yeah, and certainly about my younger self.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
It's something we have in common.
Yeah. Also, if you're Cardassian, your allies will abandon you in favor of who's in power, or it'll be their peril too, and they're not going down with you.
Loyalty is not a Cardassian virtue.
It is,
to an extent.
The extent to which you fall.
Yeah.
You will expect your friends to bounce out, and the ones that don't, you cling fastly to them until it benefits you not to.
Yeah.
And yet, through opportunities, you could claw your way back into power by service to the state. That is an undeniable state. Families regularly had intense rivalries, similar to blood feuds, but they were far more pragmatic when it came to the acquisition of power. Now, a Carmen Cardassian creed is, wow, that's a lot of alliteration, is family is all.
Yes.
A Cardassian who did not tend to his family wasn't seen as a Cardassian worthy of the name, and it was a huge mark of shame to ignore one's family unless it's in service to the state. You could ignore your family in service to the state. You could sacrifice your family in service to the state.
Just out of curiosity, do we know how many times a Cardassian father could sell his son into slavery before the son was free of him?
That they didn't have slavery.
Okay.
Yeah, Cardassians didn't have slavery.
Well, yeah, but the parallels to the 12 tablets of Roman law
you're noticing.
Oh my God. I teach that unit literally the first thing every year. Like, it's really hard not to. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've translated some of them.
Like the Romulans aren't this,
and they're
hardcore.
Called Romulans.
Yeah. Wow. It never occurred to me watching the show, but now that you're pointing all this out, oh my God.
Oh yeah, well, because the Romulans were Gene Roddenberry going, what if Rome was in space?
Yes.
It literally was his concept of it. And then, after he died, the creators of DS9 were like, here, hold my Saurian brandy.
Hold my Romulan ale.
Ooh, it's not legal though.
Oh.
They actually had episodes in DS9 where they talked about it being legalized now that there was a alliance between Romulans and the Federation against the Cardassians.
Oh,
It was
nice.
wild. Okay, so if you clawed your way back, that was great. How to put this? Bloodline absolutely mattered,
Okay.
but adoption was not uncommon. However, orphans were thoroughly abandoned by the state if their family died in service to the state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a matter of personal choice whether or not to take in a stray.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was likely due to the heavy emphasis on military conquest as part of the Cardassian state's standard policy and the influence of military in everyday society. So if you were an orphan, you might be able to work your way into the grunt position. So that kind of backfills,
Okay.
all
right.
the nameless, faceless
Okay.
masses. And
That makes sense.
the state was largely defined by its military heritage.
Now, here's a question
Sure.
that occurs to me. Thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
how frequently do we actually see a common Cardassian? Like a grunt Cardassian? Because
You
the
never
main
do.
the main Cardassian characters
Mhm.
that I remember from DS9
Yep.
are all of them either current or former
Mhm.
officers of
Mhm.
some meaningful rank. Like
Yep.
the equivalent of
It's a gull usually,
colonel,
yeah.
colonel or above. And well, I'm just a tailor. No, you're
Oh,
not.
Garrick. Yeah.
Garrick, we find out that no, Garrick, was formerly somehow very, very highly connected at the uber highest levels of,
Oh, yeah.
super secret, deep state intelligence for the Cardassians. And so what occurs to me is, if you read most novels of the Napoleonic Navy,
Mm-hmm.
Master and Commander series, and Horatio Hornblower and all those kind of things, the main characters in those are always officers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a novel written from the point of view of an ordinary British sailor,
Right.
simply because they didn't have a lot of time to have very much of an internal life.
Yeah. And their most of their life was commanded by others.
Yeah,
So you kind of, for drama, you need somebody who can actually make decisions.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and so the everything you're stating
Mm-hmm.
about Cardassian society
Mm-hmm.
has as one of its buffa kind of assumptions that we're talking about people with a level of lever pulling ability in the Cardassian state.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just suddenly that jumped out at me from the wallpaper. Like, okay, wait a minute. You mentioned about, orphans being used to backfill the, faceless horde of ground pounder troops. Like, well, okay, wait a minute. Is their experience of Cardassian society the same? Like, within a Cardassian infantry regiment,
Mm-hmm.
we know from what we've seen in the show that the
Mm-hmm.
officer cast are all going to be, angling with one another. They're all going to have, they're
Right,
going to be,
right.
they're going to have like
An alpha and a beta.
yeah, there's going to be the alpha and the beta, and all the most junior officers are going to be angling to try to get into a position to take over when, inevitably somebody dies.
Right.
But then, so is that also happening like at the NCO level? Is that happening amongst squad sergeants? Is that
Right.
happening amongst like the ordinary troops in the barracks? Are there cliques?
Sure.
Is there any kind of like, is there a common thing in societies like this would be that, there's a warrior brotherhood or a warrior cult.
Well,
Soldiers are members of some kind of common soldiers
Mhm.
are members of a fraternity.
Right.
Roman soldiers were Mithraists.
Right. Right.
And so the question is like,
So
okay,
I have a few answers to
Okay.
some of that. One, you do see at least one commoner, Mila. That's Garrick's
Okay.
housekeeper. However, she was the confidant of Garrick's father, who never claimed him, but then it turns out it was, whose name was Inabrantane. So she was a commoner, but she was kind of like Tiro was to Cicero.
okay.
And then you have Damar, who was the how to put this? He would have been the Labanus to Gul Dukat's Caesar.
Okay.
Except that he stayed loyal to him, not to the state.
Yeah.
And Damar, when you first meet Damar, he is either the pilot or attack officer on a freighter, because Dukat has been laid so low that now he's captaining like just basically a trawler. And Damar is an officer on that.
Okay.
Still an officer, but like really like
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
talking like way far in the province kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he rides Dukat's coattails until Dukat goes off the deep end and Damar keeps going. And I think Damar is one of the most fascinating characters. Everybody loves Garrick, and I get why. He's fun, but Damar is far more of an interesting sine wave. And he just, I loved when Borsk Phelan went out like a fucking G.
Yeah.
And I think Damar does the same.
Okay.
But I don't think he actually goes out. I think he ends up being there to sign. And also there is Dukat's daughter, who's half Bajoran, half Cardassian.
Right.
I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but listeners, you know where to find us. But she, by virtue of the fact that she is a half-blood in their culture, she is seen as a very bad thing, and she's the reason that Dukat is laid low. And he actually puts all his eggs into that basket for a while, but then as he starts to work his way back up, she ends up being something that he sacrifices along with his sanity, sadly.
Yeah.
For a little while. Dukat, fascinating character too.
Yeah.
But I really like Damar more. So, yes, the Cardassians, as we were saying, very Roman, obviously.
Yeah.
The males tended to be the ones who sought political and military power. And the females tended to be the ones who went into science and technology. Although there was plenty of cross-pollination, but there were some fun episodes where a couple Cardassian women get on there, onto the Deep Space Nine, and they're working with Miles O'Brien, and because they're arguing, she thought that he was flirting, and she makes the move on him. And it's fun.
Oh yeah.
And
because that's how that's works
how they get down.
When you're a Cardassian.
Yeah, damn right. And speaking of that, when it comes to socializing, debate and argument is the main form of discourse. Heated, bitter debate and discourse. Getting the other side to divulge more than you do is the goal. Making it so that your conversation companion is in a weaker position than you are during the conversation and thereafter, that's the goal.
Well, because it's all about dominance.
Right. So very Roman.
And so very predator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, bureaucratically, the Cardassians were assiduous record keepers. They kept track of everything, everywhere, always. They knew every person they kept in their camps when they kidnapped the Bajorans. And we could do a whole episode on how the Bajorans are at once the Palestinians and European Jews, and the mountain people of southeastern Asia, and I mean it's just there's so many
parallels
that they pulled in to make that.
Yeah.
But the Cardassians kept track of everything, and while most Cardassians maintained an honorable, dutiful image, most Cardassians in power also used that position of power to line their own pockets or to gain favors from those over whom they had power.
And because that was accepted.
Yeah.
That was the cultural norm.
Yes.
Just like it was in the imperial period of Roman history.
And
if you got a position in government, part of the
part
cachet of that was now I'm going to get to take these plums and keep some of them and hand the others to my favorites in order to then cultivate my power base to expand my power base further by doing this. And if the army goes without getting properly paid for a month, it's okay. We'll just conquer another tribe. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Right. And then they stopped conquering and that became problematic. Their army went from being a money-making machine to a financial liability. And that, ladies and gentlemen, class, is when we start seeing the decay of the Western Roman Empire.
So Yeah, you ain't wrong. Which leads to the first Civil War.
Yeah.
Bribes were common even at the expense of the state,
Yes.
as long as you maintain that visage of,
Yeah.
looking.
The outward appearance was the important thing.
Now, here's a fun thing. The use of torture was a common method of handling prisoners of the state in order to extract information from them, and sometimes simply to assert your dominance over them. When a Cardassian dies, so I just going to put a pin in that torture thing for a bit. When a Cardassian dies, their funerals are open to the public, though privately, the dying person would often pass all his or her secrets on to a loved one so that the next generation could hopefully destroy the family's enemies.
That goes beyond Roman to being Sicilian.
Yeah, totally.
All right, I need you to understand. Don Cosimo is the one who, all of that. No, you need fuck them up. That's your job.
Well, we just lost our Italian listener.
Yeah, sorry.
So philosophically, the Cardassians had abandoned their religion for a secular totalitarianism long before any of the series started, because a plague that provided the environment for a military dictatorship was extant, and that military dictatorship came in and provided for the people materially.
Yes.
Now, politically, Cardassians had long been ruled by something called the Cardassian Union, which was a council of elected aristocrats who made all the decisions. But over time, a military dictatorship, the Cardassian Central Command, CCC, came to usurp that council, keeping them on as ceremonial and a traditional body, but making all of the real decisions.
Caesar in the Senate.
Sorry, you okay?
Sorry.
It's quite all right.
The assembly.
And within that, there was a group called the Obsidian Order.
Yeah.
Which was their version of an intelligence branch that survived and thrived on intrigue. And they made all the real decisions.
Yeah.
Is there a group maybe that reminds you of? Might have worn really dark purple? Decided to replace people when they decided to replace people? The Cardassian Union was then used to maintain the bureaucracy and keep things humming along for the real decision makers.
Okay.
Now, during their war with the Klingon Empire, the Cardassian Obsidian Order was fractured, and the Cardassian Central Command lost power, and the Cardassian Union's ruling council was re-established. However, they were again usurped, and Cardassia fell into a bit of a civil war.
Wow.
By the end of it, a single Cardassian took total control and restructured things so that he'd be in complete control because he had the backing of another foreign power, the Dominion.
Right.
And all of that is just to get you to what I'm really here to talk to you about. The Cardassians are more space Romans than the Romulans ever were. And their justice system is a very specifically modeled justice system on a court system that the Romans used during the trial of Horatius.
Okay.
All right. So, a bit of history about Rome.
Okay.
In 753 BCE, also known as 1 AUC, from Ab Urbe Condita, from the founding of the city.
Founding of Rome, okay.
The Romulus and Remus, the boys who'd been ordered drowned as infants and were instead put near a river, hoping they'd die instead of being held under, they get nursed by a wolf until a shepherd comes along and raises them as his own. And
yes,
they had a building/bird watching contest to see where the center of their new swamp city would be.
Yes.
When they grew up. Remus wanted the Aventine Hill, Romulus wanted the Palatine Hill. And each one had their followers, and they decided to go with what the birds said. Remus saw 6 vultures first, and Romulus saw 12 vultures second. And so, it being the bigger, since this was the beginning of Rome, you already have a conflict over the rules. 6 came first, but 12 is bigger, so which one is best?
Yeah, okay. All right.
So, it's time to kill your brother so you can find out. And since Remus literally means oar, as in the thing that goes in the water to steer you.
Right.
And Romulus is an Etruscan word that means he who shall found Rome. I'm sure you could guess who won that fight. So
Caesar si viverit ad Remum Dereris. That's how I can remember that Remus is or.
Yep.
So anyway, but wow.
Yeah.
That's not the version that I learned as a kid of why Romulus killed Remus. I heard that it was that Romulus had started building a wall, and it was apparently insufficient to Remus's way of looking at things, and he mocked Romulus for doing it, and so Romulus got angry and stabbed him.
So there's a few things that I compressed.
Okay.
But Livy talks about, Livy does this all the time. He says, from there, the story is twofold. Oh, and he says this a number of times. Like, he says this when he's talking about whether or not Ascanius is the same Ascanius that came with Aeneas, or if Aeneas lost Ascanius in Troy, and then he made a new one, new Ascanius. And then he even says, well, from whichever mother he came, this Ascanius, whichever guy he was, he started Alba Longa, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But, okay, so Romulus and Remus, they have this argument. They do that. It turns into a scuffle, and Remus falls dead. Or, this is kind of like Clue.
Yeah.
Or, Remus jumps over Romulus's walls when he's building them. And if you jump over someone's walls, you have cursed those walls to always be surmountable. And Romulus struck him dead then and there and said, thus always to anyone who tries to scale my walls.
Which then ties into Rome as insurmountable power.
Exactly.
Protect the city.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And I'm going to recommend a movie at the end of this. It's phenomenal. I've probably recommended it before, but I think it's just tremendous. And it has a third take, which I like even better.
Okay.
But kill your brother. Romulus becomes the first king of Rome.
Bob's your uncle. Yep. Kill your brother.
And Romulus is kind of a fighter rogue for like 40 years.
Okay.
He's clever. He wins more by cunning and treachery than by sheer might. He can fight, but he comes up with a way to win every time. Yeah. Often involving guile.
So he's kind of an Odysseus figure.
Yes. And he's not as brilliant as Odysseus. Odysseus was acknowledged as being brilliant. Romulus is just a little smarter enough every time.
Okay.
And that's what I love about the Romans was they're like, yeah, he's a total shit, but
but he won.
Yeah, he figured out how to ambush
things out.
Yeah, he broke the rules of war so that he could win. So it's cool, you know. All right. The way that he fights the Veii is pretty cool. You know, he pretends to turn tail and run. So I mean, basically violates the rules of war as we know them.
Yeah.
And then all of his guys are on either side of the path, and they just mob the other guys. Standard stuff.
Right, yeah.
So he's a fighter rogue for like 40 years, and he's in charge. And he comes up with a way to get women for Rome.
This is the rape of the Sabine women.
Yes. Which
in this sense, of course, rape technically meaning kidnapping, but probably also. Sadly.
Well, there's a part in Livy. Yes, it is totally fucking rape. I'm not gonna soften that blow. But in Livy, a Roman historian writing about ancient Rome, he says that first off, the verb rapio rapera means to grab or to snatch, right?
Yeah.
So they're grabbed. And he says that Romulus had gone around to all the other city-states and said, "Hey, got any women?" And they said, "Who are you?" And he says, "Why, we're the Romans." And they're like, "Who are the Romans?" And he says, "Well, we are, and I am their king."
Who are the Romans? We are. I just asked who the fuck you were.
Right. I'm the king of the Romans. Try to keep up.
Yeah.
So
just ignore the tautology. Moving on. Look.
Totally. So we need women.
We need women.
Because it's sausage fest down there. And they said, well, where did you all come from? Now, the thing was, he had put out flyers earlier saying, hey, are you an escaped slave, a convict, someone who's been exiled? Boy, do we have a place for you. But he can't tell these people that. He can't say, we took your shittiest people and put them in one place.
Wait, hold on.
Sure.
So the very founding of the city,
yes,
Rome was the Australia of the Italian peninsula.
Not even the Australia, though. It's worse. It's worse. People weren't sent there on purpose. They were found and offered free, hey, you could be a citizen of where? Rome. Well, what's that entail? I don't know. Come on over and check it out. See if you like it. It beats the shit out of like being hunted down, right? Yeah, it does. All right, cool.
Okay, well, here you are.
But then he's like, fuck, there's a lot of guys here. All right.
You know, it's odd when you take on the drifters, castaways, and malcontents of other societies. That seems to skew male.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Whole lot of Garfunkels, not many Simons, you know? So, yeah. Whole lot of Vanillis, not many Millis.
Not many Millies, yeah.
So he goes there and he can't tell them, hey, we're the shitholes that you, kicked off. So instead, they're like, so where'd you come from? And he's like, we grew out of the earth. And all the city-states are like, oh no, that tracks. That makes sense. Yeah, I heard of that. Okay, my friend Frank, he told me he found something like that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's cool. Tell you what though, you're looking for women equal to yourselves. Dig deeper.
Oh!
Now here's Romulus.
I'm about to destroy this man's whole career.
But he decides, he's like, oh, okay, cool, thank you. And he walks away cool as a cucumber. Plans something called the Consus Games. These are horse racing games designed to honor Neptune. If you live in a city, you don't skip out on an honoring Neptune thing.
Yeah.
Because he'll destroy your fucking city.
Yeah, he'll wreck your shit.
He has the World's Fair at his place for the Consus Games.
Nice.
During the Looper Call.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So, and the Looper Call, for those of you who don't know, is the proto-Valentine's Day. It's where young men dress up in goat leggings and otherwise are naked, and they run around with thongs of goat leather dipped in goat blood, and they whip women on the asses to make them fertile, as any good society does.
Yes.
Right.
Clearly.
Which I love it because women, want to be fertile in these societies because then they have value to these Bronze Age societies, but they also are conditioned to want to run away from this. So I just imagine them sticking their asses out a little extra when they run. No, please don't.
Yeah.
That way they can be fertile that year. And you got to do it every year. It's just it's a renewal. Yeah. So during the Looper Call, he gets them, everybody there. He says, oh, by the way, we're having this thing. It's going to honor Neptune. You need to bring your wives and your sisters, though. You really do. I mean, you guys are going to love it. And they're like, all right, yeah, no, we could see this working out. This would be cool, honey. Let's go. Let's bring our best basket. And so they go to Rome, and he's like, check out all these empty houses we have for absolutely no one to live in because, unfortunately, no one would, send us people. But look at all this. And by the way, and he blows the signal, and all the young boys who are running around grab all the women and take them away. Now, you can't attack your hosts during the
festival.
During the festival, because then you're going to piss off Neptune. And the Sabines are amongst the biggest group to get fucked over by this, right?
Yeah.
So eventually they come back, but before they come back, all the Sabine women are like, oh, the fuck? And Romulus, he talks to them all, and he says, look, we're really sorry, but if you want to blame anybody, blame your dads. I mean, because we asked, and they said no.
Okay.
And then he says, tell you what, though. If you stay, your children will be citizens of a city, which was big currency back then.
Well, yeah.
And the women are like, yeah, but you still kidnapped us, man. That's not cool. And he says, if you would please give your hearts to those to whom the fates have given your bodies. Completely stepping over the kidnapping part.
Yeah.
I mean, just
begging
the question. Yeah.
So there was a kidnapping.
Yes.
That happened.
Yes.
Okay, but now we need to look at what's going on right now.
Right, yeah.
Let's
we can't
look
change
at this. Yeah,
what we literally just did minutes ago.
Moments ago.
Yeah. Who needs to play the blame game?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Come on. Yeah.
So then he tells them, he says, our men will be very excited to have you, and they'll work extra hard to keep you happy. Straight up, they're gonna fuck you good.
I was about to say, am I the only one hearing sax music in the background? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So he says that, and then the women are like, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this is all written by Livy.
Yes. And And
you know,
yeah.
and concepts like, you know, primary source document.
Oh God! Even
You know,
going to a
like-
place that had the documents was beneath Livy.
Like, yeah, no,
He was like, "No, fuck that. I'll make it up.
No,
It's fine.
no.
I don't want to leave Rome."
Yeah,
So Romulus does all this through guile and cunning, right?
Okay.
And so if you could imagine Rome growing under this,
yeah,
ultimately by bullying people,
yeah.
and then kind of sweet talking them after. Essentially, if you imagine Biff Tannen as a kingdom,
That's a great analogy. I love that.
Use that in your class. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, when he dies, there's no clear line of succession. He didn't have any kids. And so you have an interregnum.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't work for like a year because it's literally... So by this point, by the way, the Sabine women get out there and they stop them from fighting. There's about to be a big fight. There's a really cool thing with Tarpeia and all this cool shit. And the women stop them and they tell the husbands, they tell their dads, they're like, "Are you going to make us widows?" And they turn to their husbands, "Are you going to make us orphans?" And then they turn to both of them, "Are you going to make your children, your grandchildren, grow up fatherless, grandfatherless? Stop all this. We're all together now." And then they had to have a bit of a treaty. And basically Romulus said, okay, here's what we're going to do. Sabines, Romans, we're all going to live together, but we're going to have a new name. And that was enough. Like, that was it. Like, fucking, okay, we're the Thunderbirds now. Great. All right.
All right.
We're the T-Birds, you know?
Yeah.
But no, they were called the Queerites, by the way,
Okay.
after Quirinial Hill. Okay. So he dies, and there's no clear line of succession, and it's a really fun story how he dies, but I've already indulged myself too much on Roman history. So it's literally a new king every day, because they are made up of Sabines and Romans. So one day it's a Sabine king, the next day it's a Roman king, one day it's a Sabine, until they can find a good way to come up with a king. So they don't have rules for how to come up with a king. So they figure it out finally. Okay. After a year, they say, okay, Sabine king chosen by Romans. Fair? Everybody's cool. All right. Sounds good. But this also means that the Romans are forever ruled by foreign kings.
Okay.
Kind of interesting pragmatism there that they're down for.
Okay.
So anyway, their second king is my favorite king, Numa Pompilius. He's more like a cleric bard.
Okay.
And he rules for 40 years. He brings peace, culture, calendars, laws, shit like that.
Okay.
Pretty cool guy. Keeps Rome from becoming a bunch of biffs. Actually gets them to be a society.
Mm-hmm.
Gives people all these great ideas, and and people are like, "How are you coming up with this?" Like, he's like, "Oh, my wife and I. And after we have sex, that's our pillow talk." And they're like, "Wait, wife? You live alone?" He's like, "No, I have sex with the goddess every night." And they're like, "No, yeah, I heard about that down the valley." It's fair. Totally makes sense. And I mean, I didn't think about making boxes and calling those days. So yeah, no, dude, bang away. It's fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, he said that the Romans would not become a society. They become a not society if they only warred and whatnot. And so he instituted a way of making peace. When people questioned him, he would again refer back to his wife. And he then, again, I sleep with a goddess. Well, we've never seen her. Well, she goes to a different high school. It's fine.
She's in Canada.
Right. Niagara Falls area.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't know her.
Yeah.
And so for 40 years, he built a cool temple that if you keep the doors open, it means you're fighting. And if you close the doors, it means you're at peace. And that was enough to get people to stop wanting to fight their neighbors. He also created the Vestal Virgins.
Okay.
And he created the occupational guilds. He created a village system, other cool religious stuff, a college of clergy. He also died without a male heir in his 80s of old age. He's only one of 2 kings who died of old age.
Okay.
All the rest were killed, including Romulus. Well, he might not have been killed. See, what happened was he was about to review the troops, and he was surrounded by a bunch of the senators. Now, he created the senators.
Okay.
And he said, we're going to have 100 senators. And Livy says, whether there were 100 good men or not, I don't know. but he picked 100.
He picked 100. Okay.
So he's surrounded by them, and they start kicking up a bunch of dust, and then they literally tear him to pieces with their hands.
Okay.
And so when the dust settles, he's gone. And they're just kind of wiping off, And so a young man finds one of the senators, like, hey, where's Romulus? He's like, oh, you didn't see? He ascended to the heavens in a cloud. And he's like, yeah, no, that happened,
okay,
right?
yeah, no, I heard about that, yeah.
And they did see the dust cloud, and now there's no Romulus, therefore.
The blood stains weren't like a problem.
No, because he ascended, obviously.
The fragments of viscera.
A lot of dust. You just stomp it into the ground. It's fine.
Okay, the muck puddle.
It's
the bloody muck puddle.
They're created on a swamp.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
wait. So where do they get the dust?
on this little hillock.
Come on. Oh, jeez.
On the
all right, whatever.
Campus marshes.
Whatever. Okay, fine.
So after 43 years of being a king, Numa dies.
Yes.
And
now I have Numa.
Yeah.
Playing in the back of my head. Damn it. Anyway.
So it's 673 BCE, or as we call it, 81 AUC.
Okay.
It's kind of a Roman thing, really. And maybe not dying of old age is because they lived in a goddamn swamp. Either way.
That wouldn't help.
No. The grandson of Hostus Hostilius, who had died in service to Romulus while stealing Sabine women, his grandson, Tullus Hostilius, becomes the king.
I'm sorry. His last name is Hostilius.
I don't see the problem, yeah.
Hostilius. Does that... Just tell me, is that the root of the word I think it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Just wanted to make sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's like the Latin version of snotlout. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
So, keeping with the pattern of flip-flopping through history, right? The new king was definitely barbarian fighter.
Okay.
Hostilius lived up to his name.
With a name like that.
Yeah. It'd be really weird if he was like, I like flowers, and daisies and dandelions. So he lives up to his name, seeking war as its own end sometimes, definitely more violent than even Romulus had been. And while you could, through some mental gymnastics, convince yourself that the wars that Romulus fought were defensive wars or a means to an end that the Romans needed, you could not make this claim for Hostilius. He looked back at the last 43 years of peace under Numa, and he says, we can't continue that because then we won't be a society. We'll just be soft people who get easily conquered.
Wow.
Which...
Okay, wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
We can't... Okay.
Yep.
Numa comes along and says we can't keep doing what Romulus was doing, which is
to fight,
kicking people around, fighting,
right?
Because then we won't be a society. We need to have a culture. We need to have all this other stuff. We need peace, and so they have 40 years of peace and stability, and then Hostilius comes along and says, well, no, we can't keep doing that because then we won't be a society. Motherfucker, you've had 40 years of being a society.
This is true.
Like, and of course the response was, I can see that. Yeah, buddy down in the valley talks about, okay.
This is the most credulous population.
Motherfucker. Okay.
So...
Like narratively.
Yeah.
Like not even as a historian, just as somebody who, reads fiction. Like, I'm having trouble believing Livy at this point. Like, really?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, they're that... Like, they fell for all of that.
Well, when Clodius Pulcher gets killed on the Appian Way, they literally burnt down the Senate house.
Okay.
So, and grant you that's 700 years later.
Yeah.
So they're, in theory, 700 years smarter. And I think they actually are.
Okay. Wow. Shit. All right.
The Biff Tannen of the ancient world. I shit you not. Like, when I talk to my students about this stuff, I always tell them mediocrity lasts the longest.
But is this even mediocrity?
It aspires to it eventually.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So,
Granted. Dear God Almighty.
So really, he sets the Romans in a war to deal with Alba Longa, which was their neighbors and their longtime allies. So Alba Longa is so Aeneas gets to the Shin of Italy. He meets Latinus, the king of the Latins.
Yes.
And he starts the city Lavinium, named after his wife Lavinia, because he doesn't want to live in Latinum.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, but he wants to be their allies and stuff. But he's like, I'm founding a city. It's Lavinia. And so he does that. And then his son, once he's old enough, starts Alba Longa, named such because it's a city that's built at the top of the Alban mountain range, and it goes a long way across the top.
Okay.
Alba Longa, the long white city.
Okay.
Because Alba mountains, I think, were limestone.
Okay.
So, the Alba Longans are longtime allies because eventually Numitor and Amulius, and I think Numitor overthrows Amulius. I always get it wrong.
Okay.
Amulius overthrows Numitor and kills his son, and then imprisons his daughter, Rhea Silvia, imprisons her, makes her a Vestal Virgin. Mars rapes her, and she's pregnant with twins.
Okay.
Boom.
Who go on to be...
So it's Alba Longa. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they go on to depose their great uncle and
Okay.
reinstall their grandfather. And they did it, by the way, by sneaking up and just kind of quietly surrounding Amulius with hatchets. And then they cut him down.
Okay.
Which I wonder if you think about the Foscase.
Rods
Rods surrounding a hatchet.
Yeah, you wonder.
So...
I immediately thought of, the plot to kill Caesar. Like,
so did a lot of people.
A lot of people.
So he starts a fight with Alba Longa, which are their, like I said, their longtime allies.
Cousins.
It's also
like,
the,
literally.
yeah. It's also the original site of the Vestal Virgin's first temple.
Okay.
Now, more on the war with the Albans in just a minute, but first, a little bit about Hostilius in Rome proper, okay? He built one of the first Senate houses in Rome. The Curia Hostilia.
Okay.
This was on the remains of a temple that had been burnt down. The Senate house made by the guy who started all the fights that he could.
Okay.
Okay. Because he'd once he'd beaten the people, he'd need a bureaucracy to bring them into the Roman fold.
Okay.
It's not, I'm going to beat you and then leave you. I'm going to beat you and then I've got to have a way to now bring you into our tribe.
Okay.
That thing lasted from somewhere around 600 BCE, which is 153 AUC, all the way to 52 BCE. Okay. That building, all the way to 702. That's like 500 and something years of the same Senate house.
Damn. When
it was burned as a part of the riot over the death of Clodius Pulcher.
Okay.
Now, by the way, when the ruler of Alba Longa, Medius Fufetius, whose idea had originally been to set triplets against each other, I'll get to that in a bit, he tried to betray Rome after submitting to Roman rule.
Okay.
Hostilius said, this is a man whose loyalty is torn between two cities. Solution simple. He will be a man who is torn between two cities.
Oh, shit.
So he has...
That doesn't sound good.
He has him tied up between two chariots facing opposite directions and slap both chariot horses on the ass.
Yeah, okay, well, and okay.
Now, this is a hell of a warning to send to any and all allies of Rome thereafter. If you betray your loyalty to Rome, you're going to have a bad day.
That's you're underselling.
A little bit.
I think, slightly.
A little bit.
There, yeah.
So now back to the Alba Longans, okay?
Yeah.
The two peoples, Alba Longans and the Romans, had relatives and friends in both cities. To fight each other would be akin to fratricide and plenty of other asides. So Medius Fufetius, in order to save bloodshed on both sides, he wanted to keep both sides strong against the threat of the Etruscans to the north. He sends envoys to the Romans, and he proposes the following terms. Both sides have triplet brothers. Have them fight. Whoever wins, that city will rule the other forever.
Okay.
All his cards are on the table. He's saying, I got triplets, you got triplets. Let's do this so that we don't fight each other to the point where the Etruscans come back.
Okay.
Now, you likely know the story, but here's a quick recap. Okay? Horatius, the Horatii brothers and the Curiatii brothers.
Okay, yes.
They go a fighting, and they're on a field between both armies, and they go a fighting, and very quickly in the battle, 2 of the Horatii fall dead, but not before wounding all 3 of the Curiatii. So it's 3 wounded Curiatii against 1 Horatius. So he looks at his odds, and then he does what we saw in Monty Python in The Life of Brian. He runs.
Yes.
And they chase after him, and he gets them to separate by large intervals. Then he turns, fights one of the wounded guys who's now really tired from chasing, and kills him. And then he runs. And the same thing happens. He turns and kills the guy, and finally he runs and he turns and he kills the last one, says something really cool, stabs him through the neck, etc. Strips all their bodies, puts their spoils of war. By the way, he's completely uninjured. The Romans have won. The Alba Longans will be supplicated. Strips them all down, puts on the spoils of war on a big old pole, and starts carrying all this stuff back to Rome. Okay. On his return, he is the youngest of the Horatii brothers. He's bearing spoils of war proudly at the front of the line of those returning. Marches right back to Rome proper. And among the spoils of war was a cloak that had been made by the fiancée of one of the Curiatii brothers that he had killed. He wore that cloak, and it was stained with Curiatius blood on his shoulder. Okay. Fiancée was a woman named Camilla. Her brothers were the Horatii.
Oh, man.
And right there in front of the gates of Rome, she lets out a gasp and a lament for her betrothed. And Horatius, right there, right in front of the gates of Rome, in full view of everyone, takes out his sword and stabs his sister right through the womb. Some people say it was through the heart. Either way, he kills her, rebuking her at the same time, stating that she would mourn for one of the men who killed her brother. She deserved death. And moreover, no Roman woman should ever mourn the death of the enemies of Rome.
Okay.
Now, this was a crime.
Yeah.
Roman citizens don't get to decide who lives or dies. That's an issue for a jury. There is a due process.
Yeah.
2,600 years ago, there was due process. And this was treason as a result. Now, Horatius is seized. He's brought before the king to be sentenced. Hostilius recognizes what a sticky wicket he is in. And if he pardons the man who just killed a Roman citizen without due process, that is a very dangerous and impossible to respect precedent for a king to set. However, if he sentences the man to death who just won the war for all of them, the people are going to turn against the king.
Yeah.
Since a crowd was gathering, he wanted to wash his hands of the whole affair, so he appoints a duumvir, a 2-man council.
Okay.
Now, the job of a duumvir, their exact job, is to find him guilty.
Okay.
That is their job. They have no other job but to find him guilty. And it was a foregone conclusion. There was no argument. That is their job. There's literally no other thing they're allowed to do. A trial would be held, and he would be found guilty of treason against the state, and he would be sentenced. In Livy, Book 1, Chapter 26, for those of you who want to read it, quote, "In accordance with the law, I appoint duumvirs to pass judgment upon Horatius for treason." Okay? The dread formula of the law ran in this way. Let the duumvirs pronounce him guilty of treason. If he shall appeal from the duumvirs, let the appeal be tried. And if the duumvirs win, let the lictor veil his head. Let him bind him with a rope to a barren tree. Let him scourge him either within or without the pomerium. Within or without sight of the
inside or outside
yeah.
the ditch. Yeah.
Exactly. The holy boundary of Rome.
Yeah.
By the terms of this law, the duumvirs were appointed. They considered that the guilt that they might not acquit under that act, even one who was innocent. And having given a verdict of guilty, one of them pronounced the words, "Publius Horatius, I adjudge you a traitor. Go, lictor, bind his hands." The lictor had approached and was about to fit the noose. End quote. As you said, a pomerium is the religious boundary around the place known officially as Rome, regardless of its walls, cities, etc. Thus, the king got to have his cake and eat it too, because he couldn't pardon a man just because.
Yeah.
Right? And the man had to appeal to the people, specifically to the people. And they could then appeal to the king to commute, soften, or lift his sentence, which in this case was death. The king then could uphold the law and rescue a hero.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a very circuitous route for that process.
Procedure.
But it is so intensely procedural.
Yes.
That's striking.
Isn't it?
That in what was the semi-barbarian state of the world, that they would have that level of no, we have a way of doing things, and everybody involved knows how this is all going to turn out, but we have to go through the process because the process is what separates us from the wolves of the field. And if we don't have a process,
That's right.
we're going to fall on each other like wolves, and everybody dies. Wow.
So
Okay.
I'll go back to the quote. So Livy says, "Then Horatius, at the prompting of Tullus, who put a merciful construction upon the law, cried, 'I appeal.' And so the appeal was tried before the people."
I love the tone of voice you use. I appeal. But so essentially he had a lawyer telling him.
Yeah, but the lawyer was the king.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like literally the king saying,
That's it.
"Right, now's the part where you do the thing.
Yeah.
You have to do the thing because I can't." Yeah.
See him jabbing it with his
Totally.
elbow, like.
Or just like really looking around going, "Is there anything that you wish to say right now that the people are here to listen?" And just staring a whole...
Just staring him down.
Because keep in mind how stupid everyone was back then.
Well, and clearly how stupid Horatius was.
Yeah,
like,
no shit.
Really?
Yeah.
In front of everybody.
Yeah.
Not just kind of hateful and a dick, but
Yeah.
like in front of the gods and everybody.
Right.
You're just like,
Yeah.
what?
Well, I
Okay.
would also point out, though, that Horatius is a bit of a procedural guy, except for one step.
This is true.
Because he's like, well, I understand that you're engaged, but you weren't married, so you don't get to cry about him yet.
Okay, granted. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like,
Yeah.
but buddy, come on. Okay. Like you're literally wearing the cloak. You probably saw her
You're
sewing
just
it at
like,
home.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably had to talk. Like, oh, sis, that's a nice cloak you're coming up with on that loom. What's that for?
Yeah.
Well, I'm engaged to this guy, and I'll belong. I hope it goes well for you.
Yeah.
You know? And then he puts it on. Like,
yeah. Is that?
this feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, is that the curly-haired, dark-haired guy that was talking to Dad? Yeah, that's him. Oh yeah, no, he seemed nice. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. That's cool.
Dead now.
6 weeks later.
Yeah.
Oh,
not even weeks later. This was literally that same day. All of this happened that same day.
Wow. All right.
But I really want to highlight that point. All of this happened that same day.
Jesus.
The crime, the trial, the appeal, and what's going to happen next.
Okay.
So the people listened to Horatius's case, specifically his dad. So his dad throws his arms around his son and basically says, "Look, I've already lost 2 boys and a daughter. Don't rob me of my final child." Yeah, I know.
Wait.
I know.
But he's the one who, the daughter is separate. He killed her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I gotta say, what I keep coming away from is so many Romans had nothing but all the audacity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So his dad says, and his dad, oh my God, makes the best case. He wraps his arms around his son, says, I've already lost 3 kids today. Don't make me lose a 4th.
Yeah.
Which Saving Private Ryan was literally all about that. Minus the fact that Ryan didn't kill his other brothers, but whatever.
But okay.
But then he says, all right, tell you what, if the law is that he's been guilty, go ahead. Go bind his hands and go beat him to death outside of the Pomerium. Do it where you can see where he saved Rome. Or if you want to do it inside the pomerium, do that too. That's fine. Do it right there where we've piled up the spoils of the people that he just killed to save Rome. Go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people were like, "Oh, we can't do this." Yeah. Right. So they made Horatius pay a penalty, and his penalty was that he had to walk under a beam, which back then, big fucking deal. It really was, you know. But he had to walk under a beam that was paid for by public money.
Okay. And
maintained by public money. And then they built tombs for his brothers and not for his sister. No. They did a tomb for his brothers and a tomb for his sister, all with public money.
Okay.
So him paying a penalty was walking under a stick.
Yeah, okay.
But again, back then that shit mattered a lot more. Like sending someone under the yoke.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he had to do.
Okay. All right. So there was a very great deal of social stigma.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now it's a neat story. It's
wow. There are so many things about Roman psychology that reveals. Not many of them positive.
But it also reveals a lot about the fictitious Cardassian culture. Okay. So we have not talked about their specific jurisprudence yet, but that figures into several episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
I actually think this might not be a bad place to stop.
I think this probably is.
Yeah.
We're pushing a minute and a quarter, or an hour and a quarter.
Yeah. So
yeah.
When we pick it back up, we're going to talk about Cardassian justice and jurisprudence. Okay. Now, I do want to recommend a movie this time, and I would love to hear your recommendation as far as books or movies go. But I'm going to recommend a movie. I think I've done this before, called The First King.
Okay.
I've seen it on Amazon Prime, and it is a phenomenal movie, I think. It's about Romulus and Remus. And it's about what brought them to that moment. It ends with, spoiler alert, it ends with the story that we started with. But it is phenomenal. It gets into the psychology of them. It's the language that they use is actually Proto-Roman.
Oh, wow.
So I was washing dishes and I got the subtitles on and, I was, oh shit, I got to go do this thing. And I'm hearing all of it and I kept up with the plot, no problem, because I know enough Latin that I was like, oh, okay. They were talking and I was like, oh shit, that happened without me realizing. But it's shot entirely in natural light. It shows the Bronze Age. It's pre-Bronze Age.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows the pre-Bronze Age time as the really brutal time that it quite probably was in that part of the world. Yeah. But it's a really good reimagining of the story of Romulus and Remus. So that's what I'm going to recommend, called The First King. So,
okay. Very cool.
What recommendations do you have?
A funny thing happened on the way to the forum.
Cool.
Because all of this puts me back in mind of elements from that story.
Sure.
And that popular perception of Rome and the Romans. And I also played Senex in high school.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
First time around. It was
the Buster Keaton role.
Yeah. And that was actually, I want to say that was the last show of my senior year of high school.
I used to have students translate Pseudolus, the play.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
By Terentius. Oh God, we had fun with it.
Oh yeah.
So much fun.
Oh, yeah. That was a great character.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good one. Yeah.
So I would recommend that as maybe a palate cleanser after the First King. Like,
yeah.
So here's what the Bronze Age probably looked like, and here we're gonna turn a slave trying to escape slavery by finding a wife for anyway.
Yeah.
There are legions of ways in which this is not entirely cool to modern sensibilities, but we're gonna make comedy out of it, and here you go. So I'd say, as a palate cleanser,
I like it.
And Zero Mostel is amazing.
Oh, he is. Cool. Well, where can people find you on social media?
People can find me on the Twitter at EH Blaylock. They can find me on TikTok at the same place. And on Instagram, the same place. Also, Mr. Blaylock, different account, but also me. And they can find the two of us if our Italian listener genuinely took offense at my characterization of Sicilians. Then I can be reached or we both can be reached at Harmony at Geek History Time. I'm thinking about your line before you get to it, but we can be found at Geek History Time on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I already gave it away. Spoiler alert, but where can you be found?
You can find me at Harmony, 2 H's in the middle, on the Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me every Tuesday night on twitch.tv/Capital Puns. I'm also now starting to show up at 4 p.m. on Friday afternoons, Pacific Standard Time, with iMac Puns with Ian McDonald, and Excelsior Gaming. Which you can find on the YouTubes. Excelsior Gaming, you can find ours. It's the one that talks about I got 99 problems and a Stitcher ain't one, where we explore the Marvel Strike Force game. So it's a lot of fun. And there's tutorials that we put out and stuff like that.
Very cool.
There's a lot of places you could find me there, I guess.
All right.
So, cool. Well, for A Geek History of Time, I'm Damian Harmony.
And I'm Ed Blaylock. And until next time, keep rolling 20s.